Welcome everybody to the Coaching Cafe from wherever you are, or if you're listening on your favourite services. My name's Paula, and I'm joined today by Bridget Calvert. Hi, Bridget.
Hello, Paula.
And Natalie is off in Europe having a lovely time. So Bridget and I are going to take you through exploring PCC level coaching competency today. Welcome to everybody on the line. We would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the lands on which we meet today and their continuing connection to the land, waters and communities of Australia and the lands from all around the world upon which you might be joining us. We pay our respects to them and their elders past, present and emerging, and elders from Indigenous communities around the world. For those of us in the winter spaces, it's quite cool, and if you're joining us from some of our other more luxurious places like KL and Beijing, it's a little bit warmer. So welcome everybody. So what's on our agenda today? So last week we looked at the ACC level coaching, and today we're going to have a look at understanding PCC level coaching and what the differences are, and what assessors would be looking for if you're submitting a PCC level coaching. As always, it's our opportunity to build engagement, create community, create shared learning experience, have thought-provoking conversations, and at the end, anyone joining, we will have your ICF-CCE certificate that you can take a screenshot of. I'm always excited to hang out with Bridget because what she knows in this space is amazing. And if you are considering or working towards that PCC level coaching and you have any questions, this is a really great opportunity to connect in with Bridget, and she'll answer any questions that you've got as we're going along. All right, shall we get started? Beautiful. Okay, so I'll hand over to you if you like, Bridget.
Right, thanks, Paula. All right, well, today we're going to have a look at the Professional Certified Coach PCC eligibility requirements to start with. So to be able to apply for your ICF PCC credential, when we are looking at it from an accredited coach training program pathway, which the Open Door Coaching Group is a part of, we provide a level 2 program. It means that you need to have acquired 125 hours of coach education. You need to have 500 hours of coaching experience, and that includes at least 150 hours of paid hours, 10 hours of mentor coaching, and the successful completion of performance evaluations by submitting 2 coaching recordings. You can move on to the next one if you like, Paula.
Just a question there, Bridget. With those 125 hours of coaching education, do they all need to be at the level 2? Does it all need to be a level 2 coaching program, or could it be some level 1 and some level 2?
It can be some level 1 and some level 2, yes. So now we have our program, our diploma program, that's a standalone level 2 program, which is 125 hours of coach education. Prior to that, it was a program that, for example, if you have completed your Certificate 4 in the past, which was a 60 hours of coach education. We talked about that last week with the ACC eligibility requirements. And you did previously a diploma at 65 hours. That together collated was 125 hours. That has been upgraded now from our perspective, where we provide our diploma course as a standalone level 2 program. So to be able to apply for your PCC, you need that 125 hours of coach education, of which the diploma at this stage now provides that 125 hours of coach education. But yes, if you have collated 125 hours of coach education, you can then apply for your PCC.
Great. And just as a note, I think you said 150 hours of paid coaching, but it's 450 hours. Is that right?
450. Did I say 150? Sorry, beg your pardon. I can't even read either. So 450 of paid hours. as
Yeah, and I and
500,000.
I get asked the question a lot about the paid hours. And if you are working for an organization and they're paying you and you are undertaking coaching within the workspace, then that counts as your paid coaching hours.
It certainly does. Absolutely. Yes, it doesn't have to be individual coaching one-on-one where you're running your own coaching, you know, business or what have you, and that you know individual exchange. Absolutely, if you are coaching in the workplace and it's your place of employment, that does count. Yes.
Oh, sorry, and we forgot one at the bottom.
Mhm. As well as passing, of course, having a passing score on the ICF credentialing exam, like the ACC, the PCC exam is a requirement as part of eligibility to apply for your professional certified coach credential. It is a different exam to the ACC exam, but certainly one that you need to pass to be able to achieve that credential.
And what's different about it, Bridget?
Mm. Well, it will be looking at different a different level of coaching. You'll need different knowledge, of course. You know, at that ACC level where you're sort of a beginner coach, the questions will be different to what might be expected from a PCC level coach, which will also take into account your ICF core competencies.
Great.
So the ICF core competencies, once again, as a reminder, core competency 1 is to demonstrate ethical practice. Number 2 is embodies that coaching mindset. 3 is establishes and maintains agreements. 4 is cultivates trust and safety. 5 maintains presence. 6 listens actively. 7 evokes awareness. And 8 facilitates sorry, I just Sue's message just got client growth. Um,
So the core competencies are the same regardless of ACC, PCC, or MCC. It's more about how the depth of knowledge or the depth of demonstration.
Correct, exactly. Yes, Sue, that's right. The exams used to be the same. Um, there is a new ACC exam. Exactly. No, the PCC exam hasn't changed. I don't know if they provide different exams to different people. That's something you'd need to ask the ICF, but the ACC was changed. Yep. So, how do we know we're demonstrating PCC level coaching? Like last week, I focused on those core competencies and we looked at what that would mean for us when we're coaching at PCC level. So, first of all, like ACC and MCC, we are aligned with the ICF Code of Ethics and the role of coach as opposed to mentor, consultant, supervisor, manager. We are consistently demonstrating the role of coach. We're also embodying a coaching mindset. Now, we talked last week about the ACC level coaching and how do we know that we are embodying that coaching mindset? And I mentioned that it is talked about in the exam, in that ICF exam that you complete. Whereas at PCC level, it is actually assessed through some of the core competencies. So if we look at core competency number 4, that trust and safety, cultivates trust and safety. Core competency 5, sort of that maintaining presence. Core competency 6 around listens actively, and 7, which is evoking awareness. Through those particular core competencies and what's demonstrated, we'll present for embodying that coaching mindset. Core competency 3, which is establishing and maintaining agreements, we will be identifying or reconfirming the desired outcome for the session, as well as looking at measures of success, which might be a little bit different from that ACC level coaching. So at ACC level, we will certainly be identifying or reconfirming what somebody wants to achieve from that coaching session. But slight difference with the PCC level is the measure of success. How will you know that you've achieved that in the time that we have available together, as an example? And also, what's important or meaningful about wanting to achieve that. So those two particular areas might be demonstrated more at that PCC level than at that what's expected at that ACC level. So we're looking at what do you want to achieve? What's the outcome you're looking to achieve? How will you know that you've achieved that by the time we finish our time together? And what's important or meaningful about that? Partnering with the client to define what they need to address in order to achieve what they want to achieve. So, what do they need to address? What do they need to resolve in order to achieve their desired outcome? Looking particularly at cultivates trust and safety, that core competency 4, it's acknowledging and respecting the client's insights and work in the coaching process. So whilst you're having that conversation and you're in the moment, it's acknowledging clients' insights as they progress and respecting insights and their work during that coaching process, which might stand out as different from at that ACC level coaching where you may not necessarily do that. At core competency number 5, that maintains presence, we're responding to the whole person at PCC level. So we're really looking at the who of the person as well as the what. So we talked about at ACC level where we talked about focusing on the situation, the person's situation, what's going on with their situation. But also at PCC level, we're doing that, but we're also focusing on the who of the person. All right, so we're not just the what or the situation, but who is this person? What does it mean for them to be able to achieve? It might be looking at their values, their beliefs, the rules that they set for themselves, whatever it is that they're wanting to achieve. What do you make that mean for them and about them, as an example? Obviously, the client chooses what happens in the session, and that should be consistent throughout the whole session at PCC level. So we are not leading or perhaps guiding where that client, coachee or client goes. Also at maintains presence is curiosity. So again, like ACC level coaching, we are remaining in that space of curiosity because we do not know the answer for the coachee. Of course, we're going in with that level of curiosity. Another one at that maintaining presence is around silence, pause, and reflection, and getting really good at sitting in the silence, waiting and pausing for a moment, thinking about what question might work best for whatever has been offered to you in the moment. Core competency 6 around listens actively. The coach questions and observations are customised by using what the coach has learned about the who or the what. So for example, at ACC level coaching, we talked last week about how it might be a little bit more formulaic, or we might rely a little bit more on those models and tools and techniques that we're learning. Where at the PCC level, we're let going of that a little bit more because we are familiar with our coaching models and tools and techniques. We've tried them on, we know them well, and we're able to question and make observations in response to what's happening in front of us. Also, the coach inquires about and explores words that are used by the client, perhaps their emotions, their energy shifts, non-verbal cues or other behaviours that might show up in the moment. That may not happen at that ACC level, but it's more, we're looking more for that at that PCC level coaching. Staying out of the space, really important, consistently at that PCC level. So we're not jumping into the space, we're not speaking over the top of the coachee, we're waiting until that person finishes speaking until we offer the next question or observation. Also at listens actively, we are reflecting or summarising for clarity and understanding. Evokes awareness, which is that core competency number 7. We're asking questions around current thinking, values, needs, wants, beliefs, behaviour. not only about current thinking, but we're also asking questions that help explore beyond that current thinking and feeling. We're stretching thinking beyond where the coachee or the client is currently at. We also might share observations and intuitions here. So we might notice something. It might be a tone of voice compared to something that your client says. And you might notice an incongruence as an example, or some sort of observation in the moment that you perhaps ask permission to share. There might be something that you feel is not being said based on the context of the situation, and you might offer that as an intuition to check whether that might be right or wrong, and being quite open to not being correct either with that. The coach will ask clear, direct, and primarily open questions individually at a pace that allows for thinking, feeling, or reflection. So again, we're really looking at not stacking the questions. So at PCC level, because we're responding in the moment, it could be easy to stack a question, ask a question, and rephrase it. So we need to practice at asking that open, clear, direct question, taking a moment to think about it, and just asking the succinct question. Of course, using clear and concise language. The client does most of the talking. So we're sort of looking at that 80% where the client's talking, 20% where the coach is talking. We're also going to, at the facilitates client growth, that core competency number 8, we're going to explore progress during the session. So we are checking in on the coaching agreement throughout the session to see track where the coachee is at, to see if they are getting to where they want to be at the end of that session. We're going to invite the client to state or explore learning about themselves, which is the who, as well as learning about the situation, which is the what. We invite the client to consider how they will use their learning, and partner with the client to design post-session thinking, reflection, or action. Not everything has to be action-based all the time, but something to go away with, something to think about, something to reflect on, something to do, but always that post-session something after. Partnering with the client to consider how to move forward. So we want to consider resources and support and potential obstacles, which I would hope would also be happening at that ACC level coaching. Partners with the client to design the best method of accountability. And I think here it's important where at ACC level you might be using yourself as a bit of a support for your coachee. How can I support you? Or the coachee might rely on the coach to hold them accountable to things. We want to build that independence in our coachees to find other methods of accountability other than the coach. We want to celebrate the client's progress in their learning and also partner with the client on how they want to complete the session. So rather than, well, our time's up, so, thanks for whatever it might be. So rather than the coach taking the initiative to close the session, you want to ask the question of the coachee. Questions like, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about that's going to make this session more complete for you? How would you like to close our session? What are you walking away with? So just making sure that you're partnering with your client to make sure that the session is closed in a way that suits them, and that they've covered everything that they need to, and that the coaching agreement has been achieved for the session. So having a look at some common PCC level coaching learning opportunities here. When I'm listening to recordings, what are some of the things that I might pick up when I'm listening to those recordings? Maybe there might be a little touch of leading the client or directing the client, which can come off the bat of that ACC level coaching. So whilst we want to have your client mostly at ACC level leading that conversation, you might at ACC level hear a little bit of directing or leading from the coachee. We don't want that at the PCC level. All right, so we've moved beyond leading or directing the client. We are simply staying out of the space, and we are putting questions to the coachee as to how they would like to navigate the conversation. You know, what's most important for them to talk about? Where would they like to go to now? You know, what are you learning? What's standing out for you? What's next? So we're really sitting out of the space, and we are just supporting the client to navigate their own conversation or their own session toward where they want to be. Leading questions or surface level questions, which again could come off the bat at that ACC level. We build up some really great questions, of course, at ACC level coaching. We would just want to make sure when we're at PCC level, we are more focused on asking a question in direct response to what the coachee is saying, rather than maybe relying on a scripted type of question that we might learn at that ACC level with our coaching models and tools and techniques, that we are modifying, molding, and responding in a way that suits the conversation, the context of the conversation. Also, maybe there could be a little focus, too much focus on solving client problems instead of coaching around their thinking, their feeling, their values and beliefs. So just making sure at that PCC level, we're going a little deeper than that surface level problem, that we're really focusing on not only the situation, but also the who of the client as well, who they want to be, not only what they want to do. And that's that last point there around spending too much time on the what and not necessarily acknowledging the who. So we really want to tap into that at that PCC level. Yes, you can talk about the situation and what's going on, but what do you make it mean about you? What will it mean for you as a leader, or what will it mean for you as a person? Really focusing on the human being as well as the situation. So overall, at PCC level, we are demonstrating consistent, skillful integration of ICF competencies throughout that session. We are more fluid, we're more responsive and client-led at PCC level. So again, as I say, we're not necessarily relying rigidly on, well, we're not relying religiously on scripts or too rigidly on scripts. We know our models and tools and techniques so well that we're able to mix and match and use what we know, but in a way that responds to the client in the moment. We're moving beyond the tools to being truly present in the moment. Our questions can encourage deeper reflection and potential transformation. The questions can help shift clients' perspectives. We're stretching that thinking and looking at things from different points of view. We'll be open to listening for patterns, values, emotions. We at PCC level will be more natural and confident in our coaching style, and we may be comfortable with ambiguity and emotional complexity at that PCC level. We also see the client as fully capable, and we really go in with that growth mindset because I believe you can. And when I genuinely believe you can, my question's going to be open and curious. Again, who, what, where, when, how. Rather than those leading questions where subliminally we might want to be leading someone down a particular pathway. We're open, we're curious, and we really trust that that person can find the answers for themselves.
Right. Thank you, Bridget. There's a lot of information there, and I was thinking about it as I was going through, and I think when you're looking at that PCC level, it's always knowing that the grow model is the basis where we start from, and that you should touch on all those points. But as opposed to the Cert 4 level, when you're going into that PCC level, it's about, I know that they're there, but I'm going to follow based on where the client's leading me. And what we're interested in is it's the who bit that says, so what does that mean for you? How would you like to be in this moment? What are you making that mean for you? And it's sort of delving into those deeper levels that says that then when you go to them, so what are these options? What are the options moving forward, or how would you like to approach this? They've actually tapped into themselves a little bit more, as opposed to looking at that the what about what's going on. So to me, it's about remembering that the grow model is that basis, and then at that PCC level, it's remembering that it's there, but you it's like going off script based on where that client's leading you, and really sitting into that space that says there's more. I love that it's the growth mindset. It's going, I know that there's more that you've got to add to this, and we want to dig into that and find out that more before we think about how you move forward, so that you've got a really big full picture for yourself.
Exactly. And I think, at ACC level, it may very well be, this is what I want to achieve and this is what I'm going to do to get there. I've got my action plan and I'm going to look at my obstacles and my barriers and my resources and support and all the things that we need to do. When we get deeper into our coaching, it's more about what makes this meaningful to you? What's the driver? What's behind this? So this might be something you want to achieve. How come? What makes it important to you? So really trying to delve into the insight behind what makes this at all important to achieve, and finding that drive to really achieve it, and get that, therefore that person has more insight into self when they're wanting to achieve something.
So can you get us? Yes, I can organise to send you a copy of the screenshot as you have to leave. That's no problem at all. Does anyone have any other questions for Bridget whilst we're here? There was something I was thinking of, Bridget, and then it flew out of my it flew. Oh, the thing I was thinking of is, it doesn't mean that if you're coaching at an ACC level that it's substandard coaching. If you're
Oh,
coaching at an ACC level, you are actually living and breathing the coaching mindset, and you are a wonderful tool for the people that you're coaching. It's really just looking at taking it to the next level, and how you integrate different things into it. So coaching at ACC is still beautiful, wonderful coaching. The moving into the PCC is just extending and delving deeper.
correct. Absolutely. I mean, it is not easy to become an ICF ACC credentialed coach, I might add. So, holding that ACC credential is actually really significant, and it means that you are coaching at an exceptional level at that ACC. It just means that you don't necessarily have to go that much deeper. So it's just creating those benchmarks along the way that comes through experience with our coaching. It's a natural progression as we go along. And I'm sure there's probably ACC credential coaches that are asking a lot of these questions at PCC too.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Bridget. I always love having your insight and the approach that you take in this space, because I wrote down questions that you were asking as we were going along. So thank you so very much.
Pleasure.
Oh, now it's going backwards. Hang on. I'm always so good with the technology.
Better than me.
So as a note, everyone, if anyone is interested, we've actually just added an additional September program for our Cert 4 in Workplace and Business Coaching. Our August program was full, so we're adding in an extra one. So if you've got people who were interested, that's coming up. And if you're interested in that PCC level coaching, we have our Diploma in Leadership Coaching, which is in October, November. And I've just been on the last program. I completed my diploma many years ago and decided I'd come along, and I wanted to delve in and see what had come through in the upgrade and have another practice. And I have been really thinking about that PCC mindset and how you really develop into that space. So if you have been thinking about it, I would say jump on. And we've got our we've got executive coaching and mediation services. So, oops, I need to go back one. Thank you to everyone for joining us today. And I think we're having a break next week, and then we'll be back looking at We're going to listen to some recordings and then look at where the core competencies are being brought to life. So look out for that one. And as always, we hope you all have a really lovely Friday and an excellent weekend.
Thanks so much, Paula.